Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another video. This is the Hasbro Power Rangers Lightning Collection Wave 4 Zeo Blue Ranger. This is Rocky DeSantos, played by Steve Cardenas. This is his second Ranger form. He was first the Red Ranger in the Mighty Morphin series. He replaced Jason when Jason left the show to go do some ambassador type stuff for the school or the city or whatever the storyline reason they gave for it. It was salary dispute. Anyway, here we have the Blue Zeo Ranger. Can't wait to get him open. So, because again, I'm only collecting the Mighty Morphin line and the Zeo line. Because Zeo, I did watch Mighty Morphin and Zeo once the Turbo movie came out. I think I stopped there. I watched the movie, didn't watch the show. I really honestly can't remember because it was so many years ago. But I did watch Zeo. I do remember that at least. I don't remember anything else other than Gold Ranger being like the coolest Ranger ever. And it was Jason, or ended up becoming Jason, or Jason became the Gold Ranger. So that's why, you know, my love for Zeo will continue on here with this Blue Ranger. But the cool thing is, you know, we get that Rocky head sculpt, so we're going to actually see how it looks on the Red Ranger figure, because this was his suit too. So it's nice that we kind of have that when it comes to the different Rangers. You know, I'm sure the Zeo Green Ranger will get an Adam head sculpt. Pink Zeo will probably get the Cat or Catherine, I think Catherine Cat head sculpt. You know, she replaced Kimberly eventually as the Pink Ranger. So those cool things that we'll actually be able to do. So without further ado, let's get right to it. Same packaging that we see with all the Hasbro Power Rangers Lightning Collection. No bio or anything like that going on there. Oops. If you need the UPC, you can hit up my Instagram at the link below in the video description. Let's get right to it. Open this guy up. Okay, and here is the Blue Zeo Ranger out of the package. You know what? It's a pretty good figure. A couple of things. We look at accessories. We're kind of starting to get repetitive on what's kind of going on here. But the big thing is the tonfas that he's missing. So his weapon that's specific to him, his individual weapon, he actually doesn't come with. Now, that is odd because the Mighty Morphin ones, they come with their individual weapons. But here he comes with the blaster, which all the Zeo Rangers have. He comes with the club thing, and then blue, which I guess all the Zeo Rangers had. So he doesn't have his individual weapon. That's pretty odd. I don't know why Hasbro would skip out on that if they were doing it for other Rangers. It seems like a very odd choice. From what I can tell, based on the figures that I have, this blast effect piece that actually goes onto his club sword thing, from what I can tell, this is new. I don't know if it's come with other Rangers that are from the other seasons or whatnot, but this isn't something that I've had yet. So that is pretty cool. He comes with 2 additional interchangeable hands, which are both fists. Both his hands are holding hands. The right hand is a trigger hand. Left is a holding hand. Then he comes with the Steve Cardenas Rocky DeSantos head sculpt, which, let's be honest here, isn't very good. It's actually pretty bad. As we get in a closer look at the figure, we'll take a closer look at this head sculpt as it's on the figure, and it's not good. It's not. It's bad. Let's check it out now. Okay, guys, there it is. There is the Steve Cardenas Rocky DeSantos head sculpt up close, and it's just not good. So I tried to look up some pictures to see kind of what Hasbro kind of was thinking. So using my phone, which I guess that doesn't come out very clear. It's not a very good resolution image, but I could see what they're doing. I think they went a little wide on the head sculpt. Yeah, I don't know. It's not good. Like, I don't get it. His nose, I guess, is a little big. I think they just went too wide on the nose. And then from the side, it just looks, I don't know, something about it is just really, really off. To me, personally, I think this is the worst head sculpt that they've done, at least for Zeo and Mighty Morphin. As far as the other series, I don't know. Everyone thinks that the Kimberly one was absolute garbage. I actually really liked it, but, you know, I seem like the only one that liked it. I don't know, but I just don't see it in this one. I guess maybe certain angles you can kind of see it, but yeah, I just don't know. They did give him an earring though, so that's kind of cool that they put in a little bit of that detail. There's not one on his right ear, only his left. So, you know, they put in some effort in some places, but I just don't see it. So let's put the helmeted head on now. Okay, so there is the helmeted head, and I think that looks outstanding. That came out very good. Now, of course, you're going to want to take a look at the paint apps and whatnot on each figure. This thing is packed 3 per case, so he should be pretty easy to get a hold of in-store. Of course, online you can get everything, but in-store should be pretty easy. Again, 3 per case shouldn't be too bad. Even the Red Ranger's 3 per case, and I like to think that he's fairly easy to find. Now, I know some areas still haven't seen Wave 3, but you know, once you do get it, it should be pretty easy to get the Red Ranger. But looking at the rest of the figure, I think looks really good. I like the way the gold looks. It's actually a shiny gold throughout. The sculpt of it is pretty nice, and the details and everything. Like the way it came out looking, even on the back there. Paint apps overall are really good. I have no issues on mine. The only thing would be here, but again, that's the blue plastic and then the white. That's just kind of how those pieces came together. Not an issue at all. But overall, paint apps look really good. And then for these figures, they use the same legs, the upper legs, same lower torso. Some of these arms are probably going to be the same, but you know, these forearm pieces are going to be different because of the different pieces. Of course, the boot pieces are going to be different because the Zeo, and the chest seems to be different for each line as well. But some pieces are reused. Not a big deal. Looks really good. Now let's take a closer look at the accessories. Okay, so looking at the accessories, here is that sword club thing. I guess it retracts and extends out. It's not really a sword. It doesn't really, I guess it comes to kind of a point. It's a little bit weird. The gray plastic on there, it becomes like translucent towards the end, which I think is a little bit odd. Maybe it's just the color that they use. You know, a silver paint, I think, goes a long way over gray plastic, but oftentimes they don't do that. Here, I think it would have been really nice to have done. But the rest of it is pretty good. The blue and gold paint are done nicely, and I think there's some great sculpt work actually on this. You know, it's pretty small, and for them to kind of get those details in there, that's pretty awesome. Looking at the blaster that he comes with, it's pretty good. Now, some of the blasters that I've seen that Hasbro do with the Lightning Collection has a very flat matte paint that just doesn't look good. Here, I think the red kind of looks like that a little bit, but it's not terrible. A little bit of gold in there. Sculpt work overall is pretty nice, but there's going to be a problem because when putting this into the hand, I had a lot of paint rub that just started flaking off. So you can see, got some paint coming off there. Got the paint coming off, white paint coming off there. So it's just something you want to be mindful of and be careful. You may want to kind of warm this hand up so you can kind of really work that in and kind of go from there. I just noticed I have a little blue dot on that hand there as well. So just be careful. And then the trigger finger, it's hard to get that finger actually in the trigger spot. So you just be careful when working it, but you know, you'll be able to get it. So those are the accessories. Now let's look at his articulation. Okay, from an articulation standpoint, it's pretty standard with what we see with all of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, at least. Again, I don't have Psycho or any of those other ones, so couldn't tell you from there. This one, he can look down that much, which I think is a solid amount. He can look up a little bit, and I think, again, that's a pretty solid amount. I think if he's looking through that visor, pretty good. There is the full rotation in there. Of course, there is a tiny, tiny bit of pivot in there, not a whole lot, but there is some. Shoulders can go up that high, which is actually really good. You get a full rotation. Of course, there is the butterfly joint similar to the others that we have seen, so you can get it to go back that far, and they did paint the gold to kind of go in there. You could see kind of where they sculpted, and then they stopped the sculpted detail line work there, but it still is very functional. He can get his arm to go across that forward, so that is pretty good. There is upper bicep swivel there. You get a solid double jointed elbow, which gives you a lot more than 90 degrees on there, so really good. Wrist swivel, and they do hinge. However, this left hand is a roll of the dice hinge, and it sits pretty deep into that wrist socket, so it's kind of hard to work it. So depending here, that can kind of catch on that wrist, so you just kind of have to work it, and then you can get that to hinge. Again, same going the other way, kind of pull it out a little bit, then hinge it, and you can get it to go that way. The other one, same thing on the trigger finger. So it's the fists that have that standard hinge there. So interesting. So the torso, same torso that we see with the other Rangers. Diaphragm joint, so pivot to the side that much, pivot to the other side that much, go forward that much, which is a fair amount, but you do see the weird sculpt part of the back there. Going back, you can get them to go back that far. Then you have the ab crunch on that lower part of the torso. So using the ab and the diaphragm joint, he can bend down that much, and it looks much more natural than just a ab crunch would look, in my opinion. Going back, he can go back probably an unnatural amount, I guess. If you're laying down, it really works out. So that is pretty good. No waist swivel on these guys because we get the diaphragm joint, so don't do that. Legs go that far apart, so the belt, the holsters on the belt don't really get in the way. They're pretty soft and can kind of move around, so it doesn't get in the way. You can kick up that far forward, back a tiny bit, a little bit of movement in there. There is an upper thigh cut there, double jointed knee, which works out really well. There is a swivel at the boot, so at the top of the gold is the swivel. Foot hinges all the way down, hinges up a little bit, but you kind of have to work it, and then you do get a nice ankle pivot. Peg holes at the bottom of the feet. They are the same feet as all the other Rangers in Mighty Morphin and Zeo line have had. Great articulation on him, typical with what we've seen. Let's take a look at how he compares with the other Zeo Rangers, which is only one other one. Okay, here are the only two Zeo figures that have been released so far. No telling if Gold Ranger will get a single release or if it will stay with the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. Who knows? I'm thinking would lean more towards the 2-pack with the Dragon Shield Red Ranger, that the highlight of that 2-pack was probably supposed to be more so the Dragon Shield Red Ranger and then the accessories, and that the Gold Ranger will get a single release somewhere later on. I could be absolutely be wrong and have no idea, but I have to imagine that this guy would get a single release because he would sell extremely well, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but they look good together. If anything, the Gold Ranger actually maybe looks a little short. Not sure why. You know, he's going to have different knee and different boot pieces. Maybe that's why, but I think he does look a little bit shorter, or maybe it just comes off that way because the shield kind of gets in the way and hides some of the figure. But they look very good together, and I can't wait to build the rest of the team. We still have red, which is Tommy, so that'll of course be a big one. Pink, green, and yellow to finish off the Zeo Ranger. So I can't wait to get all of the Zeo Rangers. Now let's take a closer look at the holsters for these, because I know somebody on Instagram had asked about it, and I'll show you guys, because I would imagine all the Zeo Ranger figures are going to come with the same exact belt piece. Okay, so the holster for the sword piece, it's just kind of a square rectangle open hole, and then the sword just kind of plugs right into it and just kind of rests there. It's a fairly good fit. The blaster, it fits perfectly as far as the size of it. So there's the opening, and it just fits nice and snug in there. You don't have to force it or anything, and it's not going to come out on its own. So it holds really well. So there it is. Okay, here it is. The moment you have all been waiting for. Let's pop this red helmet off, and let's get the Rocky head sculpt onto the Red Ranger, so we can have the greatest Red Ranger of all time. I'm kidding. Relax, relax. Jason, of course, is the greatest Red Ranger of all time. But Rocky was the second one, and kind of has his own place in Power Rangers history. So there it is. If anything, the head I think looks kind of small, but it fits, so it works. If that's kind of the more Red Ranger that you are used to, the Rocky head sculpt does fit on the Red Ranger. This isn't something that I will be doing because Jason all the way. But remember, even in the movie, it was Rocky that was the Red Ranger, so he was Red Ranger quite a bit. So it works out. There it is. You guys let me know down in the comments below. What do you think of this terrible head sculpt? Or do you like it? I don't know. Let me know down in the comments below. There is the blue Zeo Ranger. That is the figure. Let me know if you guys are going to be collecting that one. I am curious. I will have a link in the video description below, so you can pre-order that guy right there. Again, if you want to wait for it in store, should be easy to get. Again, 3 per case. So there you go. Remember, Yellow Ranger is only 1 per case. She's going to be the difficult one to find. But you guys let me know down in the comments below what you guys think of the video. If you like it, please hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. Should be somewhere over here. Notification bell somewhere over here as well. And as always, thank you for watching.